Back for another double header of an episode 5 and 6
Oh
of Daredevil Born Again.
my God, what a double feature. I cannot believe they threw us right into it. That I like it in the beginning. We just start off nice and humble with Yusuf, and it's just okay. We're back to some humble beginnings. Man,
Love seeing Yusuf.
what a double feature, bro. I was blown away from top to end, beginning to end of the first episode. I just want to say nonstop, just absolutely nonstop.
Yeah, I really think that we always find these like fill episodes that have like nothing to do with the story. And with episode 5, they were able to like have a filler episode that mattered. You know what I mean? It's something way off from the main storyline, but it is solely focused on Matt getting back to a place where he is ready to be Daredevil again. And so it needed this kind of momentum to get us there. And by the end of that episode, he got us he got there. You know what I mean? Like almost there. Obviously 6 is like when he really gets into it, but I just felt like, wow, like a heist movie in the middle of a Daredevil season with Kamala Khan's dad as like the plucky sidekick. Like that's what we're doing. Okay, I am in.
Yeah, absolutely. It was the interesting take to do kind of just like a standalone episode in the middle of the season that just kind of has nothing to do really with the larger story, except for kind of the return of Matt back to where he doesn't really want to belong. There's a couple times this episode thinking like, oh, he's gonna get there, oh, he's gonna get there, and then on the other side you're like, oh, he's not. He's just leaving it to the police. He's staying out of it.
Right.
But when we get to it, it is so sick. And we saw a lot of the footage from the trailers, and it was brutal.
Yeah.
And we saw some of that here, but man, I'm ready to run down it with you and get your thoughts. And let's go in real quick
Yeah,
before we
let's
jump
do
into
it.
it.
Yeah.
What did you think as a whole for the first two for these back to back episodes? Did you think that they complemented each other? Do you think that maybe there's a reason that they ended up going back to back?
Well, I like the okay, it says you're recording on a new track now.
Hmm?
It says Chris Begley recording will continue on a new track.
Oh, I think because my audio shifted or something weird.
Okay.
It'll be on the same thing. It'll be good. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
So I think what you said, in your Instagram post to like get everyone to watch us right now live, it is such a great double feature, like you said. And
Mm-hmm.
I think the two episodes really complement each other. And I could see why they would put these back to back, because if they had the one episode 5, we'd be like, okay, that was really sick. But what up with the rest of the story you've built up thus far? So the fact that it was able to like give us episode 5 and then right away give us episode 6 back into the main story with Fisk and Matt getting to closer to their darker personas, it felt like such a great compliment, and it was so nice to be able to like breeze through both of them. It was such an easy watch. It was
Yeah, I
so
completely agree.
yeah.
I'm interested because I was going into this double feature. You're automatically thinking, okay, these episodes are going to complement each other. One, it's gonna lead off into something, and there's just no way that they couldn't have the next episode come out. And I think we're all kind of surprised that the two episodes kind of relatively didn't have much to do with each other, other than some thematic stuff.
Right.
But it did make me wonder, that the second episode ended up being a lot slower, a lot more dialogue heavy, until to the end of it. And that made me think maybe that's why they did this double feature, because they felt like one of these episodes is too small, one of these is too slow for a week to week situation. So maybe they had to double up. I don't really care why they did it, but I love that they did it. Um, I think we can all agree that most of the internet was completely wrong about these masked these masked bank robbers. When we first saw them in the first trailer, there was, who is it? Something to do with Fisk? Is it something to do with Bullseye and this and that? And it turns out no, just a side story, a B story. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, let's get into this. Let's run down the episodes, and let's talk through it.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. I have it in front of me if you want me to start.
Yeah, perfect.
So for episode 5, I didn't see the name of it. Did you see the name of it?
Yeah, so episode 5 is called I did write it down because I wanted to go back and do it. So episode 5 is called With Interest.
With interest. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay, so
and we
with
start this
interest. So
episode with Matt, of course, visiting. I forget the
New York
name.
Mutual.
New York Mutual.
Yeah,
Where
trying to.
he's actually. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, no, yeah, I was. We're finishing each other's sentences. Trying to secure a loan for his law firm, and we just so happen to see that he's meeting with Yusuf Khan, Kamala's
Hmm.
father. Is everything okay?
Yep. I got
Okay.
it. It's a cable issue on my end.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. I was actually trying to watch us live on YouTube while just to be like, is the feed good? Um, so we finally get to see. First off, I'm a big Miss Marvel fan. I think that show is
Oh,
very
absolutely.
good, underrated in a lot of ways because people don't talk about it enough. But a big part of that show was how great the characters of the family are. And so to be able to see Yusuf again outside of Jersey City and talk about his daughter was so cute. And so, he tells Matt his daughter's in California visiting a friend. We know her friend went to school went to school in California.
Hmm.
And he says he is from Jersey City, the home of the great hero, Miss Marvel. And he's like, oh, I haven't heard of her. He's like, you haven't heard of her? I have this
I love the idea
Funko
that
Pop
he's
of
selling. He's like selling his daughter as a superhero. I love the Funko Pop too. It's cute.
I want to get that. And I'm not a Funko Pop person, but it's really cute that he's just fully supportive of his superhero daughter. And it's like, the like the happy sports parents on the sideline cheering them
Yeah.
on. Like, so that was just, man, that was chef's kiss. And we're seeing the more connectivity, like we were saying last week with with the scroll comment and all
Hmm.
this other stuff. We're finally seeing more of these tidbits. And so I love not everything goes well for superheroes. They get
No.
a lot of the money that they need denied, as we saw in Falcon and Winter Soldier when Sam goes to the bank. Doesn't matter that you saved the world. And that is a known superhero. Matt is just a blind lawyer. But we
Right.
can see for some reason nobody's gonna give these guys a leg up in the world that they inhabit. So
No, not
Matt's
at
it.
all. I
Yeah,
love how like when Matt really gets into his speech, how that Daredevil theme starts to come in, that really like tense moment. A lot of that, by the way, during these two episodes, a lot of that
yeah.
Daredevil, that
It's
theme
really
song
his
coming
theme
in.
of
Yeah,
of
more
Daredevil
so.
creeping back into his persona, right? Like,
But like more so particularly in these two than all the episodes prior. I feel like,
because this
it's
is the
really, because it's
crux, right?
really creeping.
This
Yeah, it's
this
really
is the
taking
crux
over.
where we're finally gonna have Daredevil come back in the picture. Like, they're teasing it. You're right, with the music. They're
Hmm.
fucking teasing us. So it's like,
Yeah.
we know what you're doing. And so
Yeah. So yeah,
he
Kamala
gets
Khan's dad obviously is not able to help Matt just
yeah,
because just for the financial, not because he doesn't want to, but he is
really
just
cute
not
interaction
able.
though. And
Yeah, and I
so
loved it, and I love that connectivity. I love that we're getting more and more of that sporadically
100%.
of these connections, and
So
then
Matt is denied a loan. He leaves, and then he realizes that he hears the bank robbery start, and he tells
mhm.
Kirsten, his business partner, to call 911 and goes back in to help. And he walks in, pretending to be all unassuming, blind person, not knowing what's happening. And Yusuf is the assistant manager, and they're like asking for the manager, and Yusuf is like really scared and not really like standing up and saying anything. And you know Matt tells him to like stall as long as he can,
I
right?
really loved that scene too with when Matt first kind of gets there and he's kind of like honing on his senses and he's like listening to all the heartbeats and you could tell it took me a minute second to realize what he's doing, but what he's doing is he's listening to all the different heartbeats, saying figuring out how many
How many
hostages were
people
in
are
here,
in there?
how many bad guys are, listen to the guns and all that. And I like that, because
I just
it really
I
honed in on him
yeah,
doing that
I love the way that they're showing his powers. Like you said,
more and
like
more.
they're really giving us a deep dive into like what is going on in here and here. You know what I mean? Like, all right, I need to listen how many heartbeats, how many hostages there are, where they're at in the building, where the guns are at. I can smell the gunpowder. I can smell where the guns are. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
all this stuff is happening And in Netflix, we didn't really get to see as much of that. And
No, they
in this,
shied away from like the mysticism a little bit, the
yeah,
comic bookiness and the powers certainly, because it was obviously a
it
much
was
more
there, but
grounded
like
style of
they,
story.
yeah. And Ted Sarantos came out this week, kind of throwing shade, saying that we didn't get the money. Netflix or Marvel didn't want to hand over the money or something to let us fully dive into what we would show as a superhero. Like that's not what we wanted to do, he said.
Oh,
It was like,
yeah.
okay, bro.
Yeah, all
And
right. What are we gonna do? What are
I
you gonna
do
tell
have to
yourself?
shout out the main the main villain,
The villain.
Devlin. Because his name's I was reading Devlin. Killian O'Sullivan, he crushes it in this role, like as the prototypical Irish, bad guy. He's
Mhm.
actually in Strange New World.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, in the Star Trek spinoff. And so he was just for like a one-off, you know what I mean? Like a
Mhm.
oneer, like one episode. I thought
Mhm.
he was fantastic. And
Yeah,
so
absolutely. I love
so
the little kind of relative and I'm hoping it was kind of an Easter egg. When he's talking about when he introduces himself, um, because we get the introduction of that detective Angie Kim, who's the
I was just gonna say, yeah, Kim comes back
played
from
by
the
Rubo
first
Khan.
episode.
Yeah, played
Yeah,
by Ryobo Khan, and when
Alfonso
their phone
Cuarón.
their phone discussion, I love that he introduces or names himself Jesse James, which you would think like it's just Jesse James, but there is the throwback of within Marvel Comics of a character like Jesse James, a Jesse James character with his mask crew and everything like that, just like in the
Right, like a
just like
bank robber kind of
yeah, but
person.
like
Yeah.
within the Marvel
No, no, I
616
know. Like he
six
took
one
on
six
that
version,
not
that
persona, but
persona,
that
exactly. The
moniker.
moniker,
That moniker.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
That's
love
cool.
the
That's a
little
cool
throw to that.
I love these subtle nods. Like we were kind of scared and I don't know why because like this is the same showrunner as Punisher, dude. Like this guy gets
Yeah, I'm not worried
Marvel.
about it.
He loves Marvel. He eats it up. And so oh man, Detective Kim shows up, and it just so happens that she has to handle a hostage situation
Yeah.
and be on the phone. And Matt is then told that he can leave, right? That um, they basically choose two hostages after he gets on off the phone with Detective Kim,
Hmm.
and he chooses this woman and Matt because Matt's getting on his nerves, basically saying like, this is 20 to life if you take a life, like, and telling him like the law about it. And he's like, oh, we have a solicitor, which from adolescence I learned is the British term for a lawyer. And so,
Hmm.
so
The
then
UK term, I feel like.
Matt is, yeah, definitely. And so the woman is basically getting separated from her boyfriend or whatever, who's also a hostage. And so Matt says, take
Take him
me,
instead. Take him in my
yeah,
place.
take him instead in my place. And
And the
so
guy's just not having it at first,
he
saying,
does not like
he wants Matt
Matt.
gone because he does not like him, and he also
Ex-
thinks that he's blind. He hasn't seen him, so he has the least to lose. Get rid of that hostage. Um,
Exactly. And so
but he tries to flip
he's
it into some like
he's like, what's
if
your
you think
name?
I'm like not selecting you because you're blind, bro. I don't care about that, bro. I don't
He's
like
like,
you.
what's your name? He's like, Matt Murdock. He's like, oh, we got an Irish boy.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, uh, and then he tells him that he was raised in an orphanage, right? And he's like, are you kidding me? He's like, a blind guy that was
Blind
raised in an
solicitor in an
orphanage,
orphanage.
like, yeah, so like it was like, what do you call it? Like like those like daytime talk shows like Maori or something,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
Maury or something. It was just like he was like, what? And so he
Boring.
ends up being like, you know what? This guy is interesting. I'll keep him. You can switch places. Lets the two hostages go. And then Matt asks to go to the bathroom.
Yeah. Oh, why
Kind
he
of,
hears all the heartbeats, he hears all the helicopters, and at
yeah.
that moment, I was thinking like, is he like excited? He's like, or is he stoked? He's like, okay, I won't have to do this. I won't have to put the suit on. I won't have to resort to violence. They're gonna do it. They're gonna handle it.
It
The
seems like
police
it
for
was
once.
yeah, exactly. It seems like him asking for the bathroom was like a cover to save Yusuf, to make sure
Oh,
that nothing
absolutely.
happens to him, right? Get
Yeah.
to Yusuf. And so um the gentleman in the mask takes him into the stairs to go to the bathroom, and this is when Matt
What a
turns it on.
fight scene,
And
bro.
just so in this scene specifically, Matt is trying to disarm the robber as quietly
In
as
complete
possible.
silence. I love that he's just choking him out the entire
And
time, bro.
so everything that he's doing is to minimize any sound. And you know his like decibels, like he can hear it.
Mhm.
So he's, everything is like, and then he catches the shotgun before it
I love
drops,
that. He
right?
drops and he slides down the stairs and sticks his arm through the thing and just
It
man,
was
that was so
just
dope.
beautiful. It was just beautiful. So, um, gosh, his hearing ability is just man, I wish I had that. And so he does this, to make sure no robbers like come to check. And so takes out that one robber and then takes out the robber that is with Yusuf.
Right.
And Yusuf says, "What kind of lawyer are you?"
We get
And
the
once
the scene
again,
from the trailer,
he
as we
says
know,
a really good one. But he also
his
says the same
catchphrase.
thing in Spider-Man,
It's his
right?
catchphrase. He
And
does.
so he's like, we need to proceed with opening this vault, right? And he's like, well, I don't know. I don't know the code. I don't know. And he's like, uses his hearing. And so I love this scene because like Yusuf is like talking to him about like, what was he talking about? Like life stuff. It was like he was so good at multitasking. He's hearing the locking of the lock as
Mhm.
Yusuf is talking to him. And so it's like he's just like having a conversation with Yusuf while he's listening to the inner lockings of the safe. I'm like, dude, I wish the multitasking on this guy is incredible.
Yeah, I also love that when you when Matt does his little fake Irish accent to
That
trick
was
the leader.
so good.
And then I
Right.
forgot to
So
mention, did you I love the little in the staircase fight. I love when it's doing he does like the little shh.
wait, what
Did
is
you catch
it?
that? You didn't
What
catch
is it?
that? In the staircase scene when they're fighting and he's trying to keep it silent, he says it to the guy in the middle of the fight. He's like in the middle of like him choking him or something. He's like shh.
Yeah, I do. I think I do remember that. That's so
I
good.
love that. But yeah, I love Matt's
Um,
little Irish accent when he's trying to when he talks on the walkie-talkie, trying to tell him that he's
so
preoccupied trying to figure it out.
I guess he overhears that that what they're looking for in the safe is something in box number 407. And not only that, Matt overhears that these guys are working for someone. That these guys keep referencing like the
Yeah,
man
boss.
or the
They say it a
boss
couple of
or
times. Boss
the
said,
person
"Go
that hired
grind, and
us
we'll do
or
this."
yeah, or hey, this is just my job was to do this. Someone
Mhm.
gave him this job, right? And so he goes into box 407 once he's in the safe, and inside
Mhm.
is a huge orange diamond. And I do want to let you know in Daredevil 407, Ben Urich finds out Kingpin is dead, and it's also the first appearance of Cherry.
Really?
Yeah, another little nod. And so
Okay.
the kidnappers are all caught except for one.
Wow.
And he passes off what he thinks is the diamond to one of the hostages outside, telling her to get it to Luca. Right?
Mhm.
And so basically,
Oh yeah, I love like when
as
the
sorry,
SWAT's
sorry,
entering.
I skipped ahead a little bit. So basically, after they get the diamond, Yusuf and him and Daredevil pop back up, right?
Right,
And
and Detective
and he's
Kim is
like,
trying to
what the hell? Like, where's my
right.
guys? It's like just said, and he's like, listen, I know what you came for, right? You came for this. And he's like, how the hell did you know that? And he's like, does it matter? Like, this is what you want, right? And now he's listening that they're about to not barricade. What's it called when they like
Ram
rush
it.
down the door? Ram it.
Yep.
So he times the ramming of the door being like, catch the die and
Mhm.
just throws it in the air. And so in the heat of all this, the SWAT team is coming in, smoke is going off. We see the main dude, Devlin, escape and kind of change into a police outfit. And then we see Matt just subtly push one of the guy's head into the thing and then hits him in the back with his with with his walking stick, just like nothing, right? Just instinct, like it's nothing. And then so all the kidnappers are caught except Devlin.
Mhm.
He passes off what he thinks is the diamond to one of the hosses outside, which is a female who was
Yeah.
telling Matt to stop making a scene, um, or else it's going to be worse for every hostage. It's the same woman, and
Mhm.
he says, get it to Luca." And then Matt follows him, puts on a red ski mask, and this is the scene that we see in the trailers where my friend Chris thought this was Bullseye
I sure
because
did.
because the moves were very precise, sharp, and highly trained, right? And Devlin is not no slouch in his own right, right? He can fight. He can fight a little bit
Yeah,
until
so
he gets his
I
face
will
slammed into a glass bottle.
Oh my god, how brutal
That
was
do you see
that,
that kind
bro?
of stunned him?
Yeah, absolutely. It was interesting to kind of it was interesting actually just in general to kind of see this guy be able to go like toe to toe with Matt. So every now and then, he has, a competitor who and all intents and purposes any other time he'd be able to just take them out so easily.
Right.
But occasionally he takes on it takes on one guy who's just a regular guy that puts up a bit more of a fight. But I loved this scene. I thought it was fun. I thought it was brutal. I absolutely thought it was Bullseye. I mean, the way that the original trailers led it up, um, it made it seem like that would be more involved. And also, this is much more of a standalone episode than I think anybody would have expected it to be.
I know. It really is, which I
But
love.
yeah, exactly. But I loved it. I loved how everything came kind of full circle. Um,
What happens when the woman looks
that's
into
what
the
I was.
bag where the diamond is? I was gonna let you take that one.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Matt is so smart. He's so smart. So she looks into the bag, and it's one of Yusuf's candies that was
Mhm.
offered to him in the beginning of the episode that is on Yusuf Khan's desk.
Mhm.
Got him.
Got him. Must have been in his pocket or something. Damn. I
So
love
he
that.
did,
And then we get a nice little ending scene with
back at
them back
yeah, back at the bank.
at the bank, and obviously because everything's happened, everybody's much more inclined to assist and help and everything like that. And they have this nice little moment where
So
he's offering
cute,
him to
dude.
dinner to meet his wife and to meet Kamal over in Jersey City and all that. And then we
Yeah,
see a diamond.
offers to come over for dinner. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? And
Matt
really,
does a cute little I think I'll have one of these after all, trying to
I love him, dude.
Yusuf, look at the candy. Look at the candy. Yusuf, look at the candy.
I
Look at the
love
candy,
Yusuf,
Yusuf.
and I love like it's like two good-hearted people coming together. And it's like I love putting people together. In Batman vs
Uh-huh.
Superman.
Yeah,
Look at
absolutely.
this.
So, so
I love the
do you
connectivity too. Like, can we get back to that? Like,
I absolutely agree. Do you think that there's
oh,
going to be any payoff? Do you think there's going to be like some kind of future interaction between these two characters, between Matt and Kamala? Or do you think
100%.
that's
I,
just reference
I
and
think
that's
it
all?
I think it'd be a huge missed opportunity if you do not have some Kamala Daredevil scenes together. Like,
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I don't know how you would fit it in. I can't imagine them having a little teaser at the end of the season randomly where he's just like over there for dinner. It might take everybody out unless they do it in a very sweet way. But I don't know. They're
yeah,
already
no,
filming
I
season
mean,
2 and
I don't know. I mean, I think there's just potential down the road either way. If it's in a season two, if it's in a transition scene in Avengers where they have to get each other. I don't know, but you know what I mean? Like the more connectivity, the more payoff you get when you bring everyone into one movie. So like that's what it used to be. And why can't we get back to that? You know what I mean? So
yeah, the
I
build
hope
on it
that's
is
what it
very
is.
bizarre and we are getting it in a lot of ways where we're getting like a lot of cross connectivity with like the side characters and the supporting characters, which
Definitely.
is not necessarily what everybody wants, but we love it. I mean, we love characters like Yusuf and all of that. So we're always happy to see them, but we would love those
I
um
loved this episode.
a few more meaningful characters showing up in some capacity. But I absolutely love this episode. I had to pause it a few times to take care of a couple of things, but every single time I did it, I was damn it because I was just so into it. It was just so high intensity, nonstop, and I love that. It's not often do you get an episode that just goes. It feels
100%.
sectional.
It
Um,
does. It really does.
so
And
that was episode 5. I loved it. Your thoughts out the gate? I give this like a out of 10, 9, 9 out of 10.
yeah,
9
I
out of 10. I think.
mean, I think it's one of the best filler episodes I've ever
Yeah,
seen on a TV series
absolutely.
because it was so standalone yet so significant to the character of Matt Murdock giving in to the vigilante of it all
Mm-hmm.
and having someone as good-hearted as Foggy within Yusuf to remind him of why he does this and the people that he does this for are these people out in the world, out in New York. You know what I mean? And so
Mm-hmm.
it was just kind of a nice reminder and an homage to Foggy of like there are very good-hearted people out there that cannot be swayed, and that's who I'm doing it for. And so I just love how subtle that was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely agree. And you know, in that, I guess kind of leads us right into episode 6,
Right.
which is titled Excessive Force. The episode starts with BB in the streets, and she's talking to different people, and they're just talking about the difference between graffiti artists and vigilantes, and um, you know, um,
My favorite part.
basically, that was your favorite part? Yeah,
No, 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 no.
the
It's
correlation
coming up.
between the correlation between the cops, going after graffiti artists, not knowing that they're murderers, obviously, versus people that are just doing real harm that vigilantes are trying to stop, but they're trying to chase down
Yeah.
vigilantes. So they're basically saying they're
In New
focusing in the
York,
wrong direction.
yeah, and the New Yorkers in BB's videos are saying like how happy they are that
Yeah.
vigilantes are still out there protecting
Hmm.
them. So much so that they show a video of a man in a mask fencing. And I
It's
was
our boy
like,
Jack Duquesne, baby, Jack
and
Duquesne.
I was like, I know you. You're Acha. Remember that? My wife and I always say that shit to each other. That's what he says to Hawkeye. He calls him Archer, but like
Oh, okay.
the way he says it, he's like, "You're Archer." it's
Oh, okay.
so
I didn't get it.
it's
But
so
baby,
good.
Jack Duquesne is back too.
I love
Twofold.
him. I
I
love
loved it that
him.
we got more of him. I wanted more. Every time he's on the screen, I always want more of him.
I
We're
love
not
that
getting our
actor, dude.
fix.
I love him.
Um, yeah,
He's
absolutely.
so good in Better Call Saul. He's so good.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Let's see what else. We see what the construction, well, actually sanitation workers. We see them all throughout the city removing different, all the muses artwork.
Yeah, Muse watches as a worker finds the body of the man he killed. Did you see
What's
that?
that?
Did you notice that?
What'd you say?
Over like
Oh
at
yeah,
the
yeah, 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 yeah.
bridge,
They
you can
find the body on
see
that bay.
it. You can see Muse watching the worker find it.
Oh, I didn't see that part.
Yeah, and anti-kingpin graffiti, "Kiss the King's Ass,"
Hmm.
is being scrubbed off a building, and the person scrubbing it is one of the people Matt saved at the bank.
Oh, is it?
It's the one who said, "I used to work at a bank."
Uh,
Yeah, remember he was like, "Yeah, like there's no money in there anyways." And he was like, "How do you know that?" He's like, "I used to work at the bank. My grandparents like banked here. I have like a rookie card of like some hockey player. Remember that guy? It's the
hmm.
guy washing the stuff off the he
Dude,
works for the city
it's
now.
funny because he looked familiar, but I didn't even put two and two
Isn't
together.
that funny?
I love that.
I love just the New Yorkers inhabiting this world. Like it doesn't need to be a big character. It doesn't need to be a villain. It could just be someone that got robbed at the bank also washes like graffiti off the walls in New York. Like
Oh
that's
yeah, absolutely.
I love that. So Matt is like stuck in his memories, like getting these flashbacks of Foggy and Hector and Kingpin and other fights. Did you notice that? That it's like cutting to him thinking about this stuff.
Yeah, we had that nice scene of Matt. He's praying, obviously about everything that he's just been through,
And
everything that's been
he
going
has
on. He typically
Foggy's
has always done that after he's, been in a fight, been in a battle, or done something as Daredevil.
right.
And he has
Foggy's
that memorial
memorial
card,
card. Yeah.
yeah, with like the braille on it, and it's cutting in between scenes of um the robbery and Foggy and Hector at his cell and Fisk and his
And
fights with
Kingpin.
Bullseye and
Yeah.
Kingpin and Karen, and he just ends it. Amen. And that's the end of that. And
She's
then
like,
we
I
get
didn't
like,
know you still pray. He was
yeah,
like,
exactly,
his girlfriend. Luca shows up in the mayor's office.
right.
And so Luca is the person behind the robbery. We find out. Right? Get this to Luca, the
Mm-hmm.
diamond. And so Kingpin actually shows up to his office and Sheila says there's a like an unannounced guest waiting in your office, and it's Luca, the dude in the tracksuit. And Kingpin tells Luca he still owes Victor and now him as well for the delay. And Luca isn't worried about him or his rules. Basically, tells him to stay in his lane. That you're not in this business. Like tries to one up his ass, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
basically is like either do this or don't do this, but I'm not really going to listen to you. Pretty much
Right.
something that you would think, knowing Kingpin's past, you wouldn't want to say to him, especially. Oh, we keep switching sides,
Yeah, I just did
especially
that.
especially if it's between your head in a car.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I would want to talk back to Kingpin like that. Is there
No,
anything
I'm
else in
thinking
this
that.
scene, or
No, I don't
no? Not
think
really,
anything in
right?
particular. We're kind of cutting back and forth between him talking to Heather. And
Yeah,
she's
Heather's
talking
like
about
the trauma of
the
the bank robbery.
yeah, the trauma of the bank robbery, and she's kind of concerned about him and how he's just kind of going with the flow. And she's like, you sure you're okay? And she's talking about vigilantes and how much more that she's kind of pushing this conversation up with him about vigilantes and whether or not the mask is really just their true selves and their
Yeah,
excuse to go out and
she's writing a new
act like
book.
animals. Yeah, she's writing a book about it. And then she asks something interesting. She asks if he'll introduce her to Frank Castle. And I love, once again, we get another moniker name. We get the Punisher. You want me to, like, something he says, you want me to set you up with an interview with the Punisher, or something like that. I love when they use the names.
Or Daredevil.
When they use I love when they use the aliases.
I know.
Because we don't get them very often at all. Um, because they're frowned upon for some reason to be used, because people see it as gimmicky or kind of cheesy. Um, but we get it. We've been getting it quite a bit. A couple times this season, and I loved it.
I'm gonna rewatch this last episode like right when we get off. I feel like I need like more. I love it. I want to absorb more of it. Like I'm just getting all these because like literally I ended at 8:30 and then hopped on with you. So like
Right.
it's fresh in my mind, but I'm like I want to absorb more of it. Like when I like something, I tend to watch it a few times. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I watched the last, episode 4 several times leading up to this week cuz I just love it. I love this. I love this series. It's so good. So, to move it along, that worker
Yeah,
who we see
Santini.
cleaning up Santini, who's cleaning up the graffiti,
He's a
goes to
fanboy. I
yeah,
voted for you, Fisk.
goes to Fist and tell him basically the mural is made out of human blood.
Yeah, he says it's some kind of like they can't
He's
remove
like,
it
just get
because
to
of
the
some
point.
epoxy, some style of epoxy that he's using, and it's fused with blood. The epoxy is basically making it like unremovable.
Yeah, yeah, it's an approximate. I
Hmm.
approximated it. That he was like getting all technical about it. He was like, just get to the point, please. um, we see Ava again, Hector's niece, show up at Matt's office.
Angela.
And I love what?
Angela?
Ava.
Angela.
Is it Ava?
It's Angela.
Oh, I have it here as Ava. Interesting. This article is wrong. And so she goes to Matt's office and basically is kind of just up in arms of all of it. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
is basically like kind of what she was saying at the
Yeah,
morgue.
it's Angela. Yeah.
No, no, I just looked it up. You're right. It is Angela. I won't throw who under the bus who
Oh
wrote this
no.
article. Uh, but
Yeah, she's saying
I got it mixed up. Ava shows up at Matt's office and tells him that Hector was investigating all the missing people. No, they did mess up. It's Angela. That's hella funny.
yeah.
And the kidnappings are all near
Yeah,
the
she's saying
old
she's
queue line at track
mhm.
61, right?
Mhm.
Kind of gives him an idea. Just give Matt a scent and he'll find it, right?
Mhm.
But he's still like, should we leave it up to the cops? Like, he's not there yet,
Yeah,
right?
he's not sure exactly what she wants him to do outside of his Daredevil role. He's like, I'm a lawyer. I don't know what you want me to do. I can't just go find people. I can't go arrest people. I can't send the police. It
Definitely.
doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. I'm just me.
Um, and so Fisk
No, other than that,
wants,
and then what does she say? She says before after he's like I can't do anything, and she gets all mad, basically saying like why would I even come here? Like nobody can do anything, and uh she says Hector told her 2 days before he died, don't rely on anyone to do what you can do for yourself, and then she bails.
damn, that's deep.
Damn, bro. Something to think
Um,
about.
I like that she's getting closer to her comic persona, which is like a very jaded white tiger than Hector, who came before her, someone that sees the hypocrisy of justice and so falls heavily in with the hand who see justice very differently, and so
Mm-hmm.
she's already kind of leaning towards this darker side that justice and lawyers and this, it doesn't save the people she cares about. We need to do more than that. We need to get people like Muse. Bad people need to be ended, you know what I mean? And so she's getting closer to that persona. I love that we're continuing with this character. Like, don't
Yeah.
just use White Tiger once. Like, the heritage of the White Tiger goes beyond Hector. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I love
I
that they're continuing that, right? Uh-oh. No sound. Hello? No. I'm gonna continue. So basically,
There it is. You got it.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah. What I was gonna say is,
oh yeah, yeah, go ahead.
I'm curious if they're trying to build up. I wonder if they're trying to incorporate Angela into this champions situation. That you got to assume that
Yeah.
she's gonna come into possession of that amulet. Um, but I also am
And
not
they're
sure
gonna
that I see a future with her as a vigilante in season 2 randomly. That just seems kind of bizarre. I'm trying to
do you
see
think
how
the
they would
hand could
fit
come
her.
back?
I
It's a very
do.
big part of Daredevil lore. You know what I
I
mean?
hope
Like,
so. I think if Elektra
I
ends
think
up coming
there's
back inevitably.
I think there's more you could do with it, right?
Yeah,
Like,
well,
I know season 2 was like basically the hand, you know, like season, but it's very vast in like the lore of Daredevil, and he has a lot of run-ins with him. You know what I mean?
mhm. Yeah, I completely agree. And the rumors of everybody joining again. I mean, I think I'm seeing rumors again today of Iron Fist and Colleen Wing um
I
of
really
returning
hope.
back. So,
I mean, I love, it's not Jones's fault, right? Like, he didn't get the proper choreography training, fight training right before they started filming. He had like 3 weeks to like get it down. So like the filming looked wonky as hell. So if
mhm.
he's like training for a long time and he comes back and just crushes it, I'm down. Like, I don't want to just like completely like cancel him, but if they recast it, I would not be mad.
Yeah, I wouldn't be either. But I'm sure because I've heard like both sides of things. I've heard that like he wasn't the problem. It was this. But I've also heard like
He is the
he's not
problem.
he wasn't the kind of guy to go above and beyond and do the most
Yeah, not like
and
Charlie Cox.
not like Charlie Cox, not like everybody else that was involved. So there's also that. So I don't know. It stands to be seen. We'll see. Maybe they'll bring him back and it was just the writing and we'll be like, wow, this guy's got it.
Yeah, no, totally.
But yeah,
2
they're
women see
so
Muse painting,
m- yeah, exactly.
asked to take a picture with him because Muse is the new Banksy of the Daredevil universe.
Mhm.
So, someone that idolizes these artistic expressions of the politics of the city.
I also don't want
Um,
to just glaze over the fact that there's 12 confirmed murals and they say that they've matched DNAs with approximately 60 victims so far.
I did want to get to that, but like that's kind of what Cherry said, like he's scared to say because it pushes Matt over the edge. So
Mhm.
I was like holding off, but yes.
Well, I
Um
only say it because it happens earlier in the episode, so
no, no,
linearly.
no, I know, but it's like a big like once he hears that, it's fucking on.
Yeah, because he walks in, he hears his heart, he hears Cherry's heart beating, so he knows like something's up.
So Jack,
And I wasn't sure of two things.
yeah,
I was actually when we get to that, we'll talk about that. Go.
okay. I just want to get back
We have
to
this dinner.
this dinner.
Yeah, let's talk about this Fisk and Vanessa charity dinner.
Um at first like they're getting ready,
Yeah,
and there's
they're
like this
talking
really
about
cool
Luca's visit
scene
and all that.
on the bed. They're like juxtaposed in the frame, like right next to each other on the bed, like closer, as you were saying. That symbolism was there that you were saying
Hmm.
from the last episode, like close on the bed, more intimate, right? And then Vanessa tries to help Wilson put on his suit jacket. And the suit jacket rips because someone is eating too many sausages and pasta and getting a little bit big for his britches again. But what I love about this scene is that the weight of Kingpin, the big overbearing power, the room that he takes up, even in the screen, right? We saw it in Into the Spider-Verse, it's like the whole screen is Kingpin with a little head, his whole body. There's this persona of Kingpin that like the bigness of him is part of that character. And so I love how subtly they're showing that the persona of Kingpin is seeping back into the person of Wilson Fisk,
The
right?
size by way of his size.
By way of his size, by showing us that his suits are not fitting, that something is changing
Yeah,
within him. And
and I loved
within him and on the outside of him, you know what
and
I mean?
without him.
Yeah.
Uh, I thought I liked the way that they were, um, the way that they did this, where they cutting back and forth between three different scenes. We have Fisk and Vanessa. They're preparing, and she's giving him tips on how to talk and schmooze these people because she knows this stuff. And then we get the scenes of Fisk actually in the dinner, trying to schmooze people.
These
And
are very New York elitists, like
New York
top
elite. These are people with money. These are like donors because they have cause. They have reason.
top of the food chain,
And
right?
he's talking to all these people, and we see Jack again. We see Jack Duquesne, and I like Jack Duquesne because he's our boy. He's our hero. He's the kind that pushes back against Fisk. He basically says, "We don't want any part of this. We're not interested. We feel like we have different values, or we're
Yeah.
aligned a little differently."
He tells
Which is,
this that the port doesn't align with the
mm-hmm,
interests and not to underestimate New York's elite. That these are not
exactly.
people like trust me, I grew up in this. This is not people you want to mess with. Like people with money at this level can mess your shit up.
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely. He
also
says
it
with a
kind of
single
irks
with a
him
single
about
phone call.
yes. It also irks him about the attack on vigilantes. Did you notice that too? Where he was
Mm-hmm.
kind of like irked about that because he's out in the streets trying to do his
Yeah.
own. I
Yeah,
love Jack, dude. I
Jack
love
definitely
him.
I'm so glad that he's a good guy. You know, I was nervous in Hawkeye that they're
Yeah,
like, oh,
don't
please. I was
make
like,
him
please,
a
please
mustache
don't
twirling
pivot
bad
into.
guy. Like,
No, keep him just like this. Keep him just like a guy with money who has a really good hobby and he's really good at it and he's putting it to good use.
she's
Um,
like, Jack, in Hawkeye, Kate Bishop's like, Jack, I'm so sorry. Like, I thought you were he was like, oh, it's okay, my dear. And
yeah,
like keeps fighting. I'm like, I love that shit, dude. I
absolutely.
love that guy.
I also love.
Happy go lucky rich boy, like no problems in his life.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Oh my
love that
god.
scene too, where who was it? They didn't say her. It's not anybody specific. Um, but I love the threats that Fisk was getting from other people of billionaires saying, "You're just temporary. You know, you're here. You're the big man on campus. You're scary, but
That
you're just
woman,
another player.
that
Yeah,
blonde
you're just
woman.
another player. You're temporary. We'll still be here when you're gone. So
Yeah.
all your threats and all that, it's kind of
And
really put in perspective how much lower on the totem pole Fisk really is than he has realized, even with his mayoral campaign
I think
and
this
status.
harkens back to Fisk's upbringing. You know what I mean? In earlier seasons of the original series, we see Fisk in a, lower socioeconomic neighborhood within Hell's Kitchen, and his
Sorry.
dad has this hope that we can make a name for ourselves, and starts running for their district. And he sees his family trying to get out of this place that they're in, this class that they're in. And lo and behold, this woman is basically telling you, you're still from that class. You're
Mhm.
because you are mayor does not mean you are on the level we are.
You're
And
not one
it
of
and
us.
it irks him. It irks him bad. It irks him so much that he's getting a little irritated, and he's looking for Vanessa to anchor him. He sees her across the room schmoozing. She looks back at him, recognizes that look, and that's his anchor, right? That's his one piece. No, that's his
Mhm.
you know what I mean? So it was kind of cool to see that connection. Like, if he loses Vanessa, there's no telling what he is capable of.
Yeah,
It'll be bad.
absolutely. Yeah. So Daniel grabs Fisk and says he needs to show him something, and Fisk lets Vanessa gives him apologies and says, you're gonna need to. Can you just handle this for me? Because there's a new mural. There's been an unveiling, a premiere of a new mural that Fisk has to attend. And it's another mural of the Statue of Liberty. It's very anti-police, anti-city, anti-Fisk. He's mocking them. And then we get a little and oh, also I don't want to miss this, but the two girls from the clubbing are seen there with the mural, their eyes plucked out and everything like that. I love that he's
Oh, just that old eyes
just
plucked out.
just it's interesting because it's like just for the sake of doing it. There was no real reason. It's just because he was approached
He's
and
psychopath.
he's a
He's
psychopath. He's
psychopath.
a lunatic. And
And psychopaths sometimes have most of the time have
oh,
no reason for
absolutely.
you know what I mean?
I'm really
Um
craving some more like story with me, some dialogue. I'm really craving
we go back
that.
I am too. We go back to that juxtapose, right? Of the scenes cutting back and forth, which they do a
Oh yeah.
lot in this season, of cutting back and forth from Matt to Wilson, Matt to Wilson. And so in the scene that you're describing is also cutting to Cherry telling Matt
Mm-hmm.
about the serial killer identified as Muse. Cherry warns Matt to let the police do their job. And you could tell Cherry is very hesitant to let Matt know that, like you said, the DNA that they were finding on the mural basically equates to about 60 bodies that they can account for now that are dead or have gone missing. He was very hesitant. Matt's like, tell me,
Mm-hmm.
tell me. He's like, it's 60 bodies, Matt. And it's like, Matt's like, or, Cherry's like, don't do this. Like, Cherry is our new Foggy, in
Mm-hmm.
the sense, like, he's the one that's like, no, don't be vigilant. Like, we need to let the system work. Like Cherry was a cop, right? So he believes in the system. That's some part of him does still. And
Absolutely.
he was very hesitant to tell him because he knew once he said there's a serial killer, the body count is 60, that Matt this could potentially push him over
This is
the
for sure
edge.
putting Matt over. Because I was reading it two different ways. I was reading it in that way too. But I
Yeah.
was also
What
reading
was the
it
other
that
way?
him and the other way that I was reading it that like, and maybe it was a little bit more on the nose, but as soon as he comes in the office, his heart's kind of beating. And I read it as something that's like, obviously he needs to tell Matt. He doesn't want Matt to get involved, really. But I read it as like, as the veteran that Cherry is, he's seen a lot. He's been through a lot. That even this is scaring the shit out of him. The scope of this, the gnarliness of this, the 60 bodies and everything. This is kind of scaring him in a way. Like he's seen some shit, and some shit still scares him. That's kind of how I read it. Him coming in, like so much
Yeah,
so
I think
that
it's
like he
both. I
he
think
he
you're
couldn't
right.
he couldn't help but say something to Matt because it's so big, it's so gnarly.
A part of him maybe wants Daredevil to come back. That someone this bad, I don't know, maybe some subconscious part because he's very against vigilantism. He loves Matt. He knows why he did it, but at the same time, like he believes in law. He was the law. He's a retired cop. And so he knew giving him this news, it's a double-edged sword.
It is a double-edged sword.
One, it could backfire. And two, you want Daredevil to intervene. Like you're stoking the fire if you're telling Matt that this dude killed 60 bodies. Like, come on.
Yeah,
You
but
know what you're
also
doing, bro.
there's also like the responsibility of like knowing and not doing something. You know,
Exactly.
knowing that there's an issue, knowing that there's a serial killer out there, knowing that there's somebody that can do something about it,
That can stop him
and your
immediately.
willingness to tell or not tell,
Yeah.
which
How
could lead to
fast
somebody
did
else dying.
how fast did
Uh,
he get to
I know.
his
Could you imagine
lair?
if he had found out like a week ago? You save some lives, bro.
That's why I think he also did it. I think that's the point right there. Why
Mm-hmm.
Cherry pulled the trigger on telling Matt was because
Mm-hmm.
this is 60 bodies.
Because
This
this has
isn't.
been going on, and even
Yeah.
like, what do they say that like when Fisk is laughing, and he's laughing in the office because he's like, the sanitation workers found out about a serial killer before the NYPD did. Um, and I think that Cherry knows that too, and Cherry knows that like this is
Right.
flown under everybody's radar, and it's already so out of hand. And had Matt been on this a week ago, had this been news a week ago, those people would still be alive. Those girls that's from the club would still be alive.
So Fisk tells Gallo he's putting together a task force handpicked by him.
He's
These
offering
men,
overtime and no body cameras, baby.
these men are the worst of the bunch, and they will have no body cameras and plenty of special privileges to get the job done. Pal is one of the officers. Cole North is another
Mm-hmm.
officer. In
Mm-hmm.
the comics, Cole North was a former Chicago detective
Mm-hmm.
who transferred to New York, and he was not a fan of Daredevil and worked with Mayor Fisk to apprehend vigilantes. So this is pulled straight from the comics, literally.
Okay.
Did you notice our boy, Pal, the one who shoved his badge into Matt's chest? Did you notice the look on his face was a little hesitant to be so gung ho about a vigilante task force? Did
I
you
mean,
notice that he
with all
kind
due
of
respect, he just got his ass handed to him. And also,
100%? But is he not as bad as we think? There are worse cops out there. His family took the oath. He took the oath. And yes, some people do stray from the path. What did Professor X say? Just because you stray from the
someone's
path, or
doesn't mean you're lost forever or
doesn't
something
mean
like
you're
that.
lost forever. Yeah. Oh, chills, brother.
Just because someone has like lost their way doesn't mean they're
Lost their
lost
way.
forever.
Yeah. And so
I need you to find me.
honestly,
Help me believe
yeah.
again.
Yeah. He's like, look past the pain. I don't want your pain. um, so basically, my feeling is that Pow is a piece of shit, but he's not a total dick. Because even in that moment, he kind of looks around like, and he's kind of like gauging the room. And when
Mhm.
everyone's like, he's like, you guys need to be, and like building them up. When Fisk, everyone's like, yeah, and he's like, oh yeah, okay, like, and it gave me the vibes that like that's gonna come into play. That doubt that this might
Mhm.
not be the right way that I did uphold justice at one point in my career. I don't know. I have hope for him. I hope he's really good. That actor is from Mayor of Kingstown.
Oh, is he now?
Yeah, he plays an
I don't.
officer.
I disagree. I'm reading it a little bit differently. I think that
Okay,
Powell is like,
fuck me.
"Let's go, boys. We get that go ahead. Like nothing's in our way now." I didn't get any sense that he was a little unsure. I got the sense,
Interesting.
like I know what you mean, like when he's looking around, but
Watch it again.
I just did. I just clocked it a little bit more of like, damn, like these guys are really getting behind him. Like these guys are like,
Yeah.
that's kind of what how I took it, and then
Okay.
and I
Maybe I'm
walked away
reading.
with it
Maybe I'm
with him
reading
just
into it
being,
too much.
yeah, I think he's a piece of shit.
Fuck me. No.
I think that he's definitely going to be one of those guys that it's opportunist, and I think he has gotten his ass beat. I think he's gonna be one. I think it's gonna be one of those guys who got his ass beat,
He's gonna be out for
and
blood because he's embarrassed.
yeah, and it's gonna
Okay.
turn into a not so pleasant situation for him once again.
I think you're right.
I think
I
you're right.
just
I
hope
tried,
there's a
when he's flipping through the pages, I was thinking like, oh, maybe there's some Easter eggs in there. So I was like screenshotting like
Mhm.
the backgrounds and all that, but there wasn't really anything of value, unfortunately.
No,
Uh,
I hope you're right, but I hope you're not at the same time, if that makes sense. Like if
yeah,
there is what's the opposite of a heel turn? A
field turn,
heel back turn,
a heel
like
twist, an inverted heel turn. Okay, let's
um
let's let's move on to
all right.
the
Ava
end.
is
The end of
visiting the
the end of
abandoned
the
station.
we'll call this the end of the episode because it all leads into the
Ava
end of the episode.
is
So
a or
Jesus
Ava
Christ,
Save a
Angela is
Lot
investigating the abandoned the subway. Huh?
is
Not the abandoned
in
subway.
looking for clues.
Not abandoned
And
subway, but yeah.
Hector's wife, Soledad, calls
Mhm.
Matt, tells him she's worried about Ava, and he
Mhm.
starts to call 911 and then says, fuck
Fuck
it.
it. I loved it. I was like, let's
Out loud.
go.
Fuck it. Putting on
I love the montage, the running,
the
the
suit.
uniform and the running scene. Fucking rooftops.
Like the superhero,
Mhm.
the classic Superman. So we're like, here we go. We're back. We are
Mhm.
fucking back.
Yeah.
Goes to put on the suit. We don't get the classic, Batman. Remember the Schumacher ass? Yeah, the ass shot.
The back
Cape,
card.
cape, back card. Muse finds Ava and takes her to his hideout.
Mhm.
Other victims are hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah. There's some
Um,
art. I know that the imagery that cut shot randomly just straight to it of just the body just hanging there, and it just hung on
sorry,
there for.
you're cutting
Hmm?
out a bit. What?
I was saying the scene of the cut shot of like the bodies just hanging on the hooks there or whatever they're hanging on,
Yeah.
and it was so bizarre because they just hung on that shot for like an absurd amount of time for some reason. Like that shot was
What's
like 8 seconds long.
What's funny is that is also kind of ripped from the comics. Like there's a very similar scene of that shot of them like hanging and shit, like his body's
Mhm.
on the hooks and shit. It's like very similar.
Yeah.
I'm just watching this on live. I'm just watching ourselves. Um Fisk goes to see his boy. So basically we see this like up the stairs shot, like this misty
Like this
scene,
horror
like
movie almost.
horror ass like Mandy or some shit, like with the axe. And my first initial thought is like, oh, he's gonna take those pretty hands, right? Those beautiful hands.
Mhm.
I thought that's what he's going for. Instead, he goes to Adam and he says, I've fought people in my past, and I've found that using a weapon or something like that, what
Yeah,
does
he
he
says
say? Like, gives
he
me,
says he fought
evens the playing field,
he's been
right?
fighting men basically since he was a kid. Men have wanted to
Right.
fight him, and he's fought just numerous men who are all very good fighters with their hands, and he's found that what did he say? He's found that
It's so good. Yeah. Do you have it up there?
I do. He says seen.
The dialogue again. I'm telling you, it's so
Yeah,
crisp.
basically he
It's
just basically said he saw the value in like a tool. You know,
yeah, in that he believes that it evens the playing field even against
evening
a
the playing
bigger
field.
like
Yeah.
a bigger man, right?
Hmm.
It throws him the axe. Because I thought, oh, he's going to use that. No, he wants it to be a fair fight, right?
Right.
Opens the cage to his cell, gives him the axe. And does it end well for Adam? He survives
Absolutely.
and has a happy life and paints and shit.
No, they hand shook and they actually kissed, French kissed, and then
French kiss.
yeah, and then Fisk said, "You can have Vanessa. I'm done with my old ways."
Yeah, and he's like, "Let me see your hands."
No, he throws him the axe, and Adam
Kisses,
charges him and just
kisses the
completely
hands.
biffs it, biffs his opportunity.
Adam just completely fails with an axe.
I
And
love in
Fisk,
movies and TV shows when like someone has the real just the one opportunity of their life to really make a difference, make an impact of their situation, and it's like 5 seconds and done.
I know. I
Always,
know.
always. I mean, can you think of an instance where like that's happened where side characters come out on top?
I just think these dumb people should let them come to you if you have an axe.
I think so.
Like, let them lean in. Ooh,
Like, what if you threw him the ask
what's
and
that
Fisk was
football
like,
statue
"Come here," and he's
behind
like,
you?
"No," and Fisk was like, "Yeah." He's like, "No." He's just holding the axe. He's Mexican standoff. My fantasy football. I won
Oh,
2 years
I
in a row,
love
baby.
that
2 years in
shit.
a row. My name's on there.
Dude, hey, bring that up to the camera, bro. Yeah, let's go. 2 years in a row. That's big. That's hella good.
I'm stuck.
Yeah, dude.
Oh yeah, right here. Well, I
Oh,
need to get the new one for right here, but
that's fantastic. I
you
love
like
that. That's
that?
great. Yeah,
Yeah, good
that's a
thing times
nice
get real,
trophy,
bro.
brother. So do you guys do you ship it to the winner? I know you won twice, but it
Oh
looks like
well,
there's
yeah.
several years on there, right? Do
Yeah,
you
a lot of
ship
that's it's a relatively new trophy, so we only got it this year.
Did you
And then
add the previous years to
yeah,
it? So you had okay.
yeah.
So
All
you'll
right,
have
moving
to
on.
figure out how to get it to the next,
Most
or
of
it
the
could
guys
be,
live down here, so it's easy.
or it could be you again.
Or it could be me for a third year in a
So
row.
we go back to Muse, and Muse is down there with
Prepping
Angela.
Angela. Got the
And
needle
at
sticking
first,
in her arm.
Muse looks at this space, like this tiny, tiny hall, not really a hall, between the wall and where the train is. And the train is going, and then it stops, and then it
Because
passes,
he
and
hears a
and
noise. He hears like
and
a
nothing's there. Nothing's there. So he goes back to it. At this point, me and Erica were like, how sick would that have been if like the train passes by, Daredevil's right there? We were like, it's such like a Cap moment, in Infinity War. We thought
yeah.
like that would have been sick. Didn't happen yet, but he goes back to Angela.
Also, I just want to
And
say my jaw dropped when Angela got that.
yeah, I was just gonna say,
Oh,
gets the yeah, get that draw blood
but
draw.
that happens first, of course. That
Boop.
happens first, and then he hears the sound, and then he goes to the subway.
There's twice. So he looks at it. The thing passes through. He's like, oh, it's nobody. Goes back to it. Then he goes to it again. And that's when he goes into it, actually,
Mm-hmm.
after the train passes through.
Mm-hmm.
Looks down the hallway. And it's like a red
It's the
like
red light from the
light.
subway, the brake light type
And you
of
can
thing.
see the glare in his eyes, right? The red lights reflecting in his eyes. And then you see out of the light, out of the mist, Daredevil full send, running at him like a bat out of hell. Woo-hoo-hoo! Let's go!
So
Yeah!
sick. And then then his the whatever it is, the Billy Club dagger goes right to the wall, and it is just balls to the wall, bro.
Yeah, twice. It went to the wall twice. One, he
Oh
was
my
right.
god.
He was right about to stab Angela again, and he does it again into the wall.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, yeah,
then he
yeah.
wraps it around his neck. That's when he has Muse. He has Muse. Muse is done. However, Matt has this bleeding fucking heart and decides he hears Angela's heart
Slowing down.
fading, decides to let go of the strangulation of Muse to go save Angela. And in doing so, he saves Angela, but when he looks back, Muse is gone.
Muse is gone. Muse
Ba-da-bum.
put up a hell of a fight, to be
How can he
honest.
fight so well?
How can anybody in this show seemingly fight so goddamn well?
Like,
I don't know. So I thought that we would
like
get an
Daredevil is
introduction.
like highly trained,
Yeah.
highly enhanced. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I thought that I was thinking about like how they were going to go toe to toe with each other, and I really thought that we were going to get like some powers of
that
Muse.
power that you
Obviously,
were saying, that elusiveness
he
power that
he
you're
has
saying,
like that like sensory deprivation type of power. He's able to fly under Matt's radar
you can like slip
in the
in,
comics.
slip out.
Yeah,
Like,
but we didn't get this. He
that's
just
okay. I
he
think
just
it's
flew
hard
under
to
his radar.
show. I think it's hard to show one on screen, two with such a short amount of time to build up Muse. I think it's, you know what I mean.
I
I
think that would be a really tough ability to kind of portray on the camera and have to also
exactly.
also explain kind of how it works, and people wouldn't really understand it. So it's not whatever. But yeah, he put up a hell of a fight, especially like in the second half when he got those blades. He started swiping away. I was like, okay, so maybe there's gonna be more to this character. Maybe if he doesn't have the powers, maybe there is something a little bit more to him. But he's gone.
It's
He just
gone,
ran.
and
And
that's
Fisk
it.
beat the living shit out of Adam. He just with his just bro those how about I loved when Fisk is just beating the shit out of Adam and they're both just losing their shit. We get the scene from of Matt just going that we saw in the trailers. I'm sorry. And then we also
That's when he's using
get
that rage again, like
those
getting that back.
same scenes of Fisk doing the exact same thing, screaming and beating the shit out of Adam and punching through brick and stuff like that. We're getting this
A
big,
little Bane
beefy,
action.
powerful Fisk that we saw a little bit in Hawkeye and Echo, and
I
they're just
need
adding more and more onto that.
I need more Muse versus Daredevil because it was so
Oh,
quick
it's
and so
coming.
short.
It's coming.
It was such a good tease, but now that we've ended, I just want
Well,
to
not
get
yet. Not yet.
what?
Not yet.
Oh, the full frontal penis shot. Yeah, that was
Mhm.
interesting.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you focused on that one specific. I didn't think. I thought we were gonna brush over it. But go
Also, did
ahead.
you hear when Fisk is beating the shit out of Adam, he's punching through the bricks and he yells, "Mine!" Like that little kid
Mine.
tendency comes out of Vanessa, you know.
Such
Uh,
a child. Such a
and then
big boy child. Big child.
mhm. And then
Big
what about
mistake.
when so I love the scene at the end. I just kind of want to end on that where we have Fisk kind of sitting, having succumbed to this animal he didn't want to become,
Yeah.
sitting in that
He
cell, kind of
succumbed all over the
almost
place.
sitting in that cell where Adam's been, almost like he wants to be Adam because he just wants to be wanted by Vanessa. He almost wants to be him for a second before the moment's gone. But we're getting this back and forth with Matt. Angela having, he just revived her. He performs resuscitation on her and he brings her back. I think that's probably a good thing to add. Um,
She
and
comes back.
and Angela looks up and she says, "Daredevil?" And Matt says, "It's okay. I'm here. I'm here. Yeah, I'm here." Bro, we're here. We're
I think
here.
that's such a great ending because not only is it telling Angela that like there's a hero again that matters about you guys, about you people, the people of New York City. Not only is it saying that, but it is telling the audience, I'm here. Daredevil is here. I'm not going anywhere again. And that was so powerful to end episode 6 on something like that. That was Psycho. I'm doing a TikTok. Oh, it went out, brother. It went out. Hello. What happened to my
Oh, my
brother?
bad. My bad. I muted
Did you
myself because I
mute
was
it? You
coughing.
mute it? Okay.
Yeah. What I was saying is that it's interesting. It's creating a little more light now, kind of seeing how Punisher is involved in the greater story of this. Because now that we know that this task force is going in full effect, using that Punisher logo, Matt's already done his visit with Frank, and we know Frank is itching to get back into it. Oh, and they released that second half of the season trailer earlier today. I don't know if you saw that. That has a lot of interesting footage yet to be seen.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
but
I did not. I did
bro,
not. I mean, but it's
what
only
an
3 episodes,
episode,
right?
man. What an episode. Nine
So,
episodes, right?
episode 1 through 6, your general feeling right now. How do you feel? And it's okay. You can compare it to the last 3 seasons.
I don't really need
How do
to, but it is so good. It is so good. It has blown away my expectations. I'm not gonna sit here and say I had qualms about this season because the original 3 seasons on Netflix were so good. I love
or
those.
like you were like scared or
But
hesitant, like
yeah,
something
but
like
I
that?
was
Yeah.
itching to get back into it. I trust the players. I trusted the actors. And man, have they delivered. They have delivered on every single episode so far. There's not been a missed episode. If next weekend's, obviously we need more story to be told. But if next weekend's was the final episode and it held up, this would be a perfect season. It is so good, man. They're doing it's not just from the visuals, it's not just from the composition and the thematic and the music. It's in the fight scenes continuously that we're
It's in the
getting more of those. It's
dialogue.
in the dialogue even more so.
It's in the
And I think
looks,
there's something that like people were kind of nervous about earlier on that, when they're talking about like this is going to lean a lot more into the politics of law, and that
Yeah.
capacity and
It's gonna
that
be
background of
courtroom
Matt.
drama.
It's gonna lean more towards the courtroom drama, and people were getting a little nervous about that, but they've done it in such a tasteful way, in such a great way to continue to drive the story in a way that hasn't needed him to be Daredevil. He hasn't needed to put on the suit,
No, no.
and we're eating
He
it up.
he put it on when they really needed him, and that's what matters. Is that you know Matt's human, right? And he lost not just his best friend, but someone that is like a brother to him. And it shook him to his very core, where he questioned if
Chicken Matt
being
syndrome.
Daredevil is the right move moving forward. So much
Hmm.
so that he did not Daredevil for over a year.
He
But
wasn't Daredeviling.
because of the stakes, because of the politics of the city, because of the villains that he sees rising from the city, he over time has realized that he is Daredevil and that the city needs him to be that in order to save lives. And so to not do it right away, but to give us the earned moment. You know what I mean? Like good writing earns those moments. They don't just do it in the second episode. The fact that they were able to earn that moment and towards the end of episode 6 put on the suit again, that is why this show stands with the last 3 seasons is because this is great writing and they
Yeah.
know the character and they know the audience. And so now for Disney Plus, you have no excuse. We see the writing you can do. We see how high the bar can be. So now the next series that come out, they need to be this high of the bar because we know you're capable of it. We know Moon Knight could have been good if it was show run, if it was run like a TV series and not like a 6-part movie. We
Hmm.
know how good it can be because we're seeing it right here. So I'm sorry you guys shot yourself in the foot, but now we know how good you can be. And so I want to see this in other properties. And I
Yeah, I
hope we
completely
do.
agree. I'm really stoked and interested to kind of see how these showrunners and these writers continue to
Come on,
evolve and
Wonder
work.
Man.
Oh man, I want Wonder Man to hit
I
so bad.
wanted
I
to.
want it to
That's
be
the
good.
thing. we are fans of this. We want this to be good. We are not toxic fans that are just shitting on it like before it even comes out. Me and Chris and our friends group and the fans that we love, they want this stuff to be good so that we can
Mhm.
enjoy more things. We don't want this to fail. And so it's like, to Marvel, you have this fan base. Like, we're here with you till the end.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
absolutely.
Cap, we're with you
Mhm.
to the end of the line, to the end of the
Yeah,
road.
I completely agree. And you're right, they're doing it the right way. They could have easily early on, they could have just had him say fuck it. Throw on the costume and we could have had Daredevil all season.
Yeah.
But they made you want it. They made you crave it. And they made him need to do it. He needed to have a reason to do it, not just for the sake of doing it.
Yeah.
Because when you make a commitment to yourself, to do something so big based on, you know, his connection with Foggy and what happened with that, it has to be a damn good reason for him to put on that suit again.
Yeah.
And we're seeing it.
Yeah. And we
Um,
saw the steps to get to that point. It didn't just
Absolutely.
happen overnight, and it made sense story wise. And that is
Totally.
the best part of good storytelling. And on the flip side, it made sense with Fisk. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
these two characters are so closely tied and so part of the same coin. To see them in the same place from that moment they were in the diner, like they were in the same place in their lives,
Mhm.
pushing their alter ego away, to come back to that alter ego at 6 at the same time is just such beautiful storytelling. And man, I don't want this to end. Like, this is so
Yeah.
good.
Before we wrap it up, I want to get your thoughts. Obviously the season is going so well. I can't imagine at this point that at any point they're gonna bomb for the rest of the season.
Right.
Do you have any wants? Do you have any wants going into the final 3 episodes? Things you want to see? We know we're getting Punisher.
We know we're getting season 2.
We know Wilson Bethel's
Filmed
coming
right now,
back. Bullseye's
right?
coming back, and they're filming season 2. And I have heard the grapevine that rumors about season 3.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But who really knows?
I mean, if it's
Um,
as good as this,
and
season
then
2, you best
oh
believe
god,
this could go like what? 4 seasons? What do you think?
yeah.
At least?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on what they eventually do with incorporating him into the larger MCU and
Yeah, I hope
the
that's the plan, because
the
it
Secret Wars of it
seems,
all.
because this is working, that they are using Daredevil as the crux of Marvel television. That because we are
Yes,
saying like this is the high bar, they want to centralize Daredevil for all Marvel TV
and they want
series.
him to be the face of like the boots on the ground heroes.
Yeah,
They're
which
very much
scares
building him
me
into that.
because I want him to do both. I
I
really,
want him to
really
do
want him
both.
to do both.
And that's why they have to be careful because like when you take a character like this that's always been so grounded, and even in this season, they've heightened his abilities to the point to where people are like, "Oh,
Right.
man, they're really going on it. This is cool." But you introduce him into Doomsday and you introduce him into Secret Wars if he's in it. Because the rumors are that he's in it. Who knows at this point? Um, but you can't go into that and really fantasticize his powers and then bring him back here to this very grounded reality, because it's going to leave you thinking he is so much capable of more in every single fight, in every single situation.
I
Of course,
really
you can go the psychological mindfuck, route where it's not about his abilities, it's more about that. But I think you have to treat the character very carefully. If he is going to be the face of the boots on the ground style of heroes, if he's going to incorporate with the rest of the defenders, should they eventually come back with Spider-Man, he's starting to lean into his friendly neighborhood Spider-Man characteristics of himself. And we know we're getting a lot more of this character. So I'm really hoping that they just continue to handle it delicately. But I think the fact that that's already filming and this show is already this good just shows that they have nothing but the complete confidence in the rest of the season and in next season.
So you were asking me, like, now that we're getting towards the end, like, what would I want to see? You
Yeah,
know
is
what I
there
mean?
anything in particular? We know Frank's coming back. Um, what else
Yeah,
do we know?
he's coming back
Um,
in a big bad way.
is there anything big that we know? We know Frank is coming back. We know, like I said, we know Bullseye is coming back in his capacity. It looks like it's probably going to be some. They keep on showing that bus scene, so I'm assuming he's going to get broken out
You know,
on that bus, on that
at
prison
the
bus.
At the end of season 3 of Daredevil, there's a fight between Daredevil, Bullseye, and Kingpin.
Kingpin.
And I really love this scene. It's fantastic. But I feel like it takes a little bit away from the story between Daredevil and Kingpin. And so my hope is that you're able to use Muse a little bit more in a way that, like, I don't know, makes them question themselves, but also pits them against each other again in time for season 2. You know, I don't need
Mm.
a a face off between, even though I think that's what we're building towards is Kingpin versus Daredevil again. But what I would like is that, you know, in Civil War, how Zemo towards the end, he did his work. He did his job, right?
Yeah, the
The
job is
the
the whole
Avengers
goal was to pit them against each other.
the Avengers is no more. It's gone.
Mhm.
He blew him up. I think in the same sense, in a different way, Muse can be that for these two characters,
In what
where
way?
whatever he does puts something into motion that completely pits Daredevil against Kingpin again. Right back to where we are. Not Matt versus Fisk, but Daredevil versus Kingpin. So I don't have anything specific. I just want them to
Mhm.
use Muse in this way, and also to give the character more screen time because I think Muse is a great villain. So
Yeah.
yeah, what about you?
Do you think that yeah, I mean, I really I'm thinking about the episodes that we have left. We have 3 episodes left, and they've done a really good job about of packing a lot into each episode and being meaningful and not being too much. But I'm curious about how many payoffs, we can really have.
Yeah.
Because we have everything that's going on between Matt and Fisk. We have BB on the street. We have Muse. We have Frank coming in, and Frank's probably just going to come in just for this task force, and that's probably going to really be it. And I think the buildup is just for that. Um,
Yeah.
and then you have Bullseye, and it kind of makes me wonder if they've slowly been building Muse, and that he's going to have a larger part in the final 3 episodes, and that maybe they're building up to Bullseye being maybe a predominant um, antagonist in season 2. Um, it's really they're really making it look like
Wait,
he's
for who?
in
Who to be the season 2
Bullseye.
protagonist?
Bullseye.
I'm down for that.
They're really building him. They've built him up a little bit in this season, but
I'm
we
down. I'm
haven't
down
got a
for that.
lot of shots of him. And I'm just kind of curious as if we're gonna get some kind of like end of the season, he's out and he's back at it kind of a thing, and he's just gonna
You
be one of
know,
those characters that just continues to show up and be a nuisance, get his ass beat, but he keeps at it, which is the gimmick of Bullseye, right? That's the thing. He loses every battle, right? In the comics, Bullseye loses every battle, no matter how good he's the best marksman in the world,
yeah,
but he
but
loses every
he
fucking battle,
is
and he always gets his ass
very
beat.
he is
Um,
very
and he keeps coming back.
tactical at like tearing down Daredevil from the
Mhm,
inside, like, you know, as we saw in the beginning, like going after the people he loves, you know, like really getting to him just to laugh at him. Like that
mhm.
is Bullseye. But I want him to come back. I mean, I
I want
want
him to
these.
come back.
Yeah, I want him to come back.
Absolutely. I'm just curious if
Uh,
he's going to in the remainder of this season. I'm wondering with these final 3 episodes, are we going to get a
my
Matt and Fist showdown and a finale with Muse's story and some badass shit with Bullseye and
my,
Frank and him taking on the SWAT or not SWAT, the task force? That seems a lot to throw into these final 3 seasons, and maybe they
yeah,
can, maybe they can,
my hope for
but
season 2 is that it's good. No,
yeah, we don't have to get there. We still have 3 episodes before we get there, but
no, I'm just well, I hear it's a huge cliffhanger. I hear it's like a WTF moment is what I'm hearing, that the finale. I've heard people that have seen it that have not been able to like divulge because the embargo, you know what I mean? But like
mhm.
they say you will be satisfied and it will leave you being like, I need to see next season. Like it is a big. cliffhanger, they
Yeah.
say. So I'm really excited for that. But yeah, that's it. That's all. I mean, I love this show. I love these characters. I love these actors. My hope is what I was gonna say for season 2. I remember now. I hope we leave New York for a little bit. I would love to see Daredevil in a different city like San
Mm.
Francisco. I
Hmm.
think like something like that, with Paige, and it gets Paige to come back to New York, something like that. I think that'd be really sick to see Daredevil fight in San Francisco. That is like I'd be very happy.
Yeah, I think maybe yeah, I think taking Matt out of his element a little bit.
Exactly.
We're getting the mentions of, he hasn't been to Hell's Kitchen in quite a while, and
Right.
she's out in San Francisco now, and Doomsday and Secret Wars is coming up. So it looks like Matt might be being pushed, having to Daredevil more and more out of his comfort zone that he's used to, but
Definitely.
we're all here for it. We're all here for it. I think that'll do it, man. I think that'll do it for our episode 5 and 6 Daredevil Born Again
Yeah, we
discussion.
went in.
Man, what a double feature, bro. I'd love that they did this.
Yeah.
I can't say that I wish they did this all the time, because the season would just go by that much faster and I would be kicking myself in the ass, because I have loved being able to do this week through week.
No,
I'm
I
so
I
thankful
agree.
for Marvel to returning to that week to week form, and not just dumping all the seasons on us at once, because it really gives the opportunity to really digest it and take it in. And like you said, watch it a couple of times and have these conversations that we don't always get to do when a whole load gets drops on. As much as we love that,
Yeah, and
but
you
I'm
know how
so
much we
thankful
love
that this is
huge
the approach they're
loads.
going. How much we love huge loads. Just drop
Whole
them all over
loads.
us. Drop them all on
But
us.
I agree. I mean, this is exactly what you want from this kind of show, a water cooler type show that
Hmm.
keeps you theorizing, keeps you talking about it week to week. I mean, there's so much to digest from these 2 episodes that we will continue to, and leading up to the next episode. But you couldn't ask for more from a Daredevil series. And so
I could,
I'm but I don't need to. You know what I mean?
but
It's
I
like
won't.
yeah. And so man, what a great series. Chris,
Absolutely, man.
where can they find us?
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We know this is a last minute, late evening session. For any of you that have joined in or did join in or watching this via YouTube or listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. But if you check us out online, you can check us on YouTube, Twitter, Threads, TikTok, Instagram, all those good things. It is at the Geek Gospel, no threads or no spaces. Sorry about that. And if you're listening in podcast form, you can catch the show on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here, Chris. Thank you. Man, we planned this. We
Wouldn't miss
said
it.
no, but we set out last week. Things can always come up week to week. So I'm just so happy that with such a great double feature, like you said, to be able to talk to it like fresh right after. Man, it's so fun to do this with you. And I love doing the show with you, and these after shows is just like such a fun part of Geek Gospel. And I really hope you guys watching become a part of this community and talk to us and theorize with us, and hopefully chime in live when we do this live as we did tonight, because like we want you to be a part of these conversations. We want you
Mm-hmm.
to mention things that we didn't even see. You know what I mean? And so I hope we get to that point. Maybe with season 2 next year, we can hope for it. But I'm so happy that we're able to do this, and can't wait to do it again next week with you guys.
Hell yeah, brother. Sounds good, man. Well, thanks for hopping on. You have a great night, and we'll chat more.
All right.
We'll chat more.
Pew, pew,
We'll chat
pew.
more.
Take
When
care.
your
All
legs up.
right. What was that?
You want to see what I bought today?
Yeah, what is it? Dildo.
What do
No,
you
what
think
is
it
it?
is?
Dildo.
What do you think it is?
Uh, for your mic. It. No way. Let's go. Stream Deck
But I got bad news.
doesn't connect.
Nope. I was looking all over on how that we would connect this to Riverside, and
We
simply
can't use
we